That's pretty cool. Watching Almeida, his first time in a radical car, a radical race car in real life. Can I do it? And he's being logical. He's feeling the car out. He's slow every lap. You can see when they skip to the next section that he's a little faster. It's hard to, um, huh, it's hard to explain to people um, what speed feels like, and because people see like NASCAR, they see them going 200 miles an hour down the straightaway, or they see Formula One going 200 miles an hour, um, and they it doesn't look that fast. And this is what he's going through. He's understanding that when you get out there in the wind and the physicality of the machine, and this is for real, and you know that if you fuck up, stuff's, it's not like hit the reset button. Um, but this is what happens. Unfortunately, this is what happens. You start out, oh my, this is fast. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, that was scary. Oh, my adrenaline is pumping. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue comes a sensation where you're like, well, what's wrong? Is it running too rich? What's up with my, did I get bad gas? You're trying to find out why it's not scaring you and it's not as frightening as it was. Well, that's because this is your first attempt at 150 miles an hour, a bike that can do 150, or a bike that runs in the mid 11s at the drag strip. Then the next step, you spend a lot of money. And now you're back to scaring yourself again. The wheel's coming up at 120 miles an hour when you don't ask it to, and now you're at 180 miles an hour, and it's fun and it's exciting because the difference between 150 and 180, in case you don't know, is big. And then something happens again. Again. You're at 180 and you're twisting the fucking throttle harder and you're wondering what's up? How come my bike how come things aren't performing the way they used to? And you know what the next step is, right? That's right. We spend a lot of money. The last time I was going 220 miles an hour on a motorcycle, I actually was sitting there contemplating, can I afford the next step and do I want to do it? The economy was sucking at the time, and I had a bike that would run 880, 890, and I had it set up to run 10 seconds flat, and I ran in the 10-second flat bracket so that I could run 2 years on a bike and never change the clutch on a Hayabusa. Never flipped one over because I always ran a wheelie bar. And at that point I decided, and the old lady decided for me, that enough was enough. And you see, my whole life has been that way. Airplanes, the same way. 120 or 150, you know what I mean? You continue to move up and get faster and faster, single engine, twin engine, and it's never enough. And it's the same thing with cars, okay? My first double D class car cost me everything that I had, and it was exciting for one season, and then it just wasn't enough. I got in someone else's car that had 300 more horsepower than mine, and mine was a turd after that. And he's going to run into the same thing. After he does this for 2 or 3 seasons, he's going to find out his fucking car ain't fast enough. and it doesn't have enough grip, and it just isn't doing the damn job anymore. I feel, I mean, I'm happy for the kid because there's nothing like going fast. There's nothing like going fast. Um, the first time that I went underneath the Berryessa Bridge, the Lake Berryessa Bridge, the first bridge you come to, not the Pewter Creek Bridge, but the first bridge you come to, the first time I did that inverted in an airplane that wasn't supposed to be inverted, it was a big thrill. And then after that, not so much of a thrill. That's just how life is, I guess. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to speed. It doesn't matter. Boats, airplanes, cars, bikes. I've experienced the same thing in all of them. That when you first start out, it's economical and fun. And then it's less economical and fun, and even less economical and fun. And then it's downright expensive and fun. And it only goes up from there until pretty soon you need a team sponsor. Where you need factory backing and shit because you're craving to go that little bit faster again. And but the next step up, there's a point where it starts to get really, really expensive. Okay. When you get into sports that are over 220 miles an hour, the price to go 230 miles per hour from 220 is a huge step. It's bigger than from 140 to 200. Every little step, because it's area squared, right? Drag starts to increase rapidly the faster you go, and so does the amount of money it takes to overcome that resistance. So I'm happy for the kid, Almeida, Suellio Almeida. My first radical race in real life. Can I do it? Yeah, you can do it, man. You can do it. You'll do okay. He went from a sim racer to on the track. Now, I can tell you that being a professional racer and a sim racer, that the theory is the same. The physics feel the same, but once you get in a real vehicle or on a real vehicle, inside a real vehicle, what changes is all the forces become real. The wind, the G forces, okay? When you're sim racing, it's basically you're relying on the wheel and your perception on the screen to tell you when your car has a push. You can feel it. You can feel your car pushing. It's not turning, okay? And when you get in a real car and it's pushing, you're understanding that this is not something, this is something that's going to take money. If you want more grip, you have to have more car. It's simple as that. You can only, people like, oh, just crank up your airfoil like you do on a sim car. Well, when you're sim racing, you can do that. You can just simply just put a little more downforce on the front. You don't seem to suffer that much, but it's not that way in the real race world. Every time you add drag to your car, your opponents are going to be passing you. It all comes down to money. It really does. It comes down to money. So, yeah, that's cool. I'm watching his speedometer. He's at 150 or so, 160, and I can tell he's getting scared, but that will go away soon enough. I can tell you, okay? I was this close to making the jump up from a turbo Hayabusa to having a super turbo Hayabusa. That's why when you look at the swing arms on my bikes, how beefy they were, that's why, because your bike tends to bend because the chain's on one side. So you'll notice that on like the green Hayabusa, that left-hand side with the chain had two swing arm braces. It was a dual-sided swing arm on that side. And it actually pinched the frame with a square tubing on each side. Because the more horsepower you get, your bike tends to start folding itself like this. Again, money. It always comes down to money. I'm happy with this kid. It's nice to see sim racers getting a chance in the real world. I guess the movie Gran Turismo helped a little bit to show that theory can, if you have the balls and the need for speed, that theory can translate directly to the racetrack. Okay? Um, and this kid seems like he's taking the right approach. He's not trying to go too fast too soon. He's learning the car. And the more he learns the car, the slower the car will become in his mind until pretty soon he's hanging on the back end of everybody else. So I'm gonna subscribe to this guy's page and I'm gonna follow him.